olwa Buganda yaffe, ekitiibwa kya Buganda kyava dda, naffe tukikuumenga.
Ekitiibwa Katikkiro, ssebo nzikiriza nsobole okuba nga tutandika puroguramu eno. Nja kuba nsaba bapanelists baffe abagenda okuba nga bateesako omulamwa guno gwenda okuba nga mbasomera. Mbayisaamu katono mu puroguramu nga tunatandika mu kulambalamba. Bapanelists abagenda okubaganya ebirowoozo ku kwogera okweyambisa obukugu n'obumanyirivu okuleeta enkulakulana mu bavubuka. Njagala mube nga mweteekateeka, naye mu kaseera kano munzikirize tuggulewo omukolo guno n'essaala.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Ssebo Katikkiro, Minister of Protocol observed, Omubaka wa Kabaka. Tugenda kutandika n'essaala eggulawo omukolo gwaffe guno. Tujja kutandika tugenda gatta kubanga tuli ba biwayi ebigattibwa mu ddiini, era nga Katikkiro bwe yatulambise Obuganda tebusosola, ffenna butwaniriza. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Arrahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Ayi Mukama Katonda, tukwebaza olwa olunaku luno. Tukwebaza okuba nga watukeesezza nga tuli balamu, n'otuwa obulamu n'otuwa n'amaanyi n'obuvumu okubeera wano. Ayi Mukama Katonda, tukwebaza olwa kabaka waffe Magulu Nnyondo. Tukwebaza olw'obulamu bwe, era tukwebaza okuba nga ogenda omususa ekirwadde. Ayi Mukama Katonda, tukwebaza olwa Katikkiro waffe, Katikkiro Kamalabyonna, era atulambise obulungi era akutte Obuganda obulungi. Ayi Mukama Katonda, tukusaba omwongere obuvumu n'amaanyi nga Kamalabyonna era abimale. Ayi Mukama Katonda, tukwebaza olw'obulamu bw'otuwadde. Tukwebaza olw'abantu abali wano. Tukusaba olukuŋŋaana luno olututeeremu omukisa, era bye tugenda okwogerako, Ayi Mukama Katonda, otuwe amaanyi n'obuvumu okubituukiriza. Era twebaza abateesiteesi abasobodde okuteekateeka omukolo guno, era tusaba Katonda atuteeremu omukisa. Amiina.
Ssebo tweyanziza essaala eyo. Nga bwe nabalambiseeko awo, bapanelists baffe mbadde mbategeezezzaako awo emabegako nti mubeere nga mweteekateeka. Ngenda kuba mbasoma amannya ate musobole okuba nga mujja nga mutuula wano ku butebe buno buli mu maaso, tube nga tusobola okuba nga tukubaganya ebirowoozo. Nja kusaba MC munnange ow'olunaku asobole okuba nga atwala mu kitundu kino ekiddako. Ng'MC wajja, nja kusaba Ashraf Nsubuga, Rachel Bashabe, Jonathan Luwaga, Nusula Lunkuse ne Leyan n'Abagereka mube nga mujja mu maaso wano. N'omukungu Beka Kiyinje, mwebale nnyo. tweyanziza. Nja kubasaba bapenalisiti baffe mukungu Beeka nga abapenalisiti baffe nga bwe bazze, nja kusaba obe ng'ojja okuba ng'oggulawo session eno mu butongole tube nga tusobola okweyongera mu maaso.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Temunnalya. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oweekitiibwa Katikkiro, Oweekitiibwa Mwami Kawuki, Minisita wa Diaspora, baminisita abavudde mu Buganda, abakungu abavudde mu Buganda, abakungu olukiiko lwa Oweekitiibwa Ssebo Oweekitiibwa, tubaaniriza mwenna wano, abagenyi baffe abambejja, abalangira, mwenna tubaaniriza wano ku lunaku olwaleero. Mbeebaza nnyo mwenna abazze wano. I would like to thank each and every person that's taken your time out to be here. Kubanga leero lunaku lwa Sunday, naye ne muvaayo ne musobola okubanga mujja wano. Thank you very much. Ssebo Katikkiro, Oweekitiibwa Katikkiro, njagala okutuusa okwebaza eri Oweekitiibwa Saalongo Kibuuka kubanga yafuula ennono ey'abavubuka emu ku bintu byagenda okulaba nti ateekako essira okusobola okulaba nti naatwala mu maaso, kubanga bwe tubanga tufa ku bavubuka tuba tufa ku future yaffe. Nti buli kintu kyonna kyokola, whatever you're doing, if you don't focus on the future is the youth, because whatever we are doing, it's not going to be sustainable, it's not going to be long lasting unless nga tufuddeyo okulaba nti nno tufa ku bavubuka. Era njagala okwebaza buli muzadde asobodde okulaba nti naafaayo okulaba nti nno abavubuka bajja wano olunaku olwaleero. Leero tugezaako okulaba nti encouraging abavubuka okubanga beemanya, abavubuka okubanga bayiga, kubanga ensi gye tugenda mu maaso actually we tuli kati kiri kwani gw'omanyi. Buli kimu kye tukola, oba onoonya mulimu, oba onoonya mikwano, kiri kwani gw'omanyi. You might go for an interview, but already someone's assigned for that job. You go for interviews, but someone's already assigned that job. So what we need to do, we have to make sure that we network with the right people. Tufune emikwano emirungi, tufune abantu abasobola otuguiding okututwala eyo gye twagala okubeera successful, tusobole okulaba nti tugenda mu maaso. So please live here when you have a new friend. Live here when you have someone that's going to help you get to the next level, because we have a lot of we have a lot of professionals, we have a lot of people doing well in our community. We need to give them a spotlight so that our young people can be able to learn from that. Munsonyiwe nkozesa Oluzungu n'Oluganda kubanga abaana abamu unfortunately tebamanyi Luganda, so that's why nkozesa ennimi zombi ebbiri. Naye nga tulina challenge y'abavubuka. We have a lot of young people that are struggling, they have no idea where to go. So what we're trying to do is to bring them together, network, show them the right people, and the world will be a bright future, and also to help them with their identity, to get to know where they come from. Twagala mumanye wajje muva, mumanye ennimi zammwe, olulimi lwammwe, mumanye gye muva e Buganda, musobole okubanga mutuyamba, kubanga abavubuka mulina amagezi mangi, musobole okuyamba Buganda okudda ku ntikko. Singa ffenna tujja ne tubeera ne tukwatira wamu, kijja kubanga kituyamba. So leero tugenda kubanga twogera ku topics ez'enjawulo okulaba engeri gye tusobola okuzimba community yaffe, engeri gye tusobola okuzimba abavubuka, engeri gye tusobola ffenna okukwatagana. So mbeebaza mwenna nate okuba nti musobodde okuwaayo obudde bwammwe ne mujja wano olunaku olwaleero tuwulirize, naye nga kye mbakubiriza, va wano ng'ofunyeeyo omuntu asobola okutuusa ku ddaala eriddako, kubanga bangi tubalina. So mbadde mbasaba tubakozese. Neeyanziza neeyanzenge, mbeere bulungi.
Tweyanziza mukungu Beeka n'obugambo obwo. Nja kusaba MC Munnange ojje tukole ku housekeeping, ate ne bapenalisiti baffe ojja kunyambako obawo omukisa basobola okweyanjula, tubamanye biki bye batuleetedde, bali mu biti ki ebyo ebisobola okuba nga leero bijja kuba nga abavubuka nga bitutwala mu maaso. Mwebale nnyo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here. nsanyuse nnyo okubalaba Oweekitiibwa Katikkiro Kamala Gonna, Oweekitiibwa Kawuki Minisita waffe wa Diaspora, abalangira abanaabambejja, abeekitiibwa ba Minisita ba Buganda, abakungu n'abakungu ba Kabaka. Amanya gange nze Sharon Kabubi na Kawungu, era mbeera wano e London, if you're interested, neddira Kasimba, naye kuno olunaku ngenda kwogera Oluganda n'Oluzungu. So I hope I'll be mixing and you guys are okay with that. It's my honor to be able to present and MC and host this event, this special occasion, where we can bring the youth of the Buganda community, of the Uganda community in the diaspora, and hopefully have compelling conversations and discussions and networking opportunities that bring us together and unify us in such a way that we build a stronger nation. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming. And we'll be continuing with the program as of now. So for the first program, we have a panel discussion, and these are our special guests. I'm going to ask our panelists to kindly introduce themselves. Please keep it short and sweet. In the interest of time, we have to be concise. If I can have now Mr. Ashraf Nsubuga, kindly introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, and why we should be interested in you. Have a mic?
My name is Ashraf Nsubuga. I'm a senior engineer working with HS2, or otherwise known as High Speed 2. I've been an engineer for about 10 years now. And when I was at university, I faced a lot of challenges, like most young people do, in terms of what I'll do next in my career. And I had to go through what we call freestyling in terms of my career. But if I had some guidance, I think I would have got there quicker. So my responsibility is to give back from what I've learned.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Luwaga. First of all, I work for Transport for London. I'm a contracts and finance officer for TfL. I'm also an ambassador for Fertility Network UK, Fertility Alliance UK. I work closely with the British Fertility Society. I'm also a committee member for the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence for the UK, who advise treatment and work to NHS. So I worked for TfL for a long time, 6-7 years, but I've taken a different route into my career. I'm now moving forward into fertility work and trying to spread awareness around male infertility. So yeah, that's me.
Hello everyone, my name is Leah Mugwanya. Nedida Putiko. I work in law, predominantly in fintech. My firm is a trading platform for all sorts of asset classes, and I've been there for about 4 years now. I'll be soon training to become a solicitor, and so my aim is to train and to qualify as a corporate solicitor in the UK.
God, I've gone blank. Hi everybody, my name is Amanya Gange Bampita Nusralunkuse Unetira Ngonge, and I work for myself. I'm a registered childminder, and I used to work in different corporate worlds, insurance, home office, you name it. I kind of did it because I started when I was 17. I never went to uni. I did, but kind of didn't finish due to unforeseen circumstances. But yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much to our panelists. Just briefly, I'm going to mention some housekeeping, and then we'll proceed. So, in the interest of safety, if there is a fire, we have 3 exits: to your left, to your right, and then straight at the back. And then if we have the ladies and gents as well, which is through the double doors, the ladies is on the left and the gents is straight through. We also have a disabled bathroom for those who need. Okay, let's start our discussion.
Thank you, Sharon. Basewo ne banyabo nga bwe nabategeezezzaako bapenalisti baffe bano omulamwa gwe bagenda okukubaganyaako ebirowoozo kuli nti okweyambisa obukugu n'obumanyirivu okuleeta enkulakulana mu bavubuka. Kati nga mwenna bwe muwulidde obukugu bwe bayina, tugenda kubanga waneeno nga tubabuuza oba nga nabo nga batubuulira, naye tujja kuba nga tubabuuza ebibuuzo okuva mu ebyo bye banaaba batuzzeemu oba bwe banaaba batulambise, butya bwe bayinza okuba nga beeyambisa obukugu bwabwe okulaba nti nno baleeta enkulakulana mu ffe abavubuka, ate nga gwe mulamwa omukulu gwe tusinga okwetaagwa nga ffe abaana ba Buganda abaliwo era abagenda okubeerawo ebbanga eriddako mu maaso awo. Kati nja kubasaba nga ngenda kutandika ne Ashraf ofune omuzindalo ogwo. Ashraf, nga wowulidde omulamwa ogwo ng'okozesa profession yo, osobola okutubuulira engeri gy'oyinza okuba nga abavubuka nange kennyini naffe n'abali wano nga tusobola okutapinga mu bumanyirivu bwo, mu bukugu bwo, okulaba nga enkulakulana nga naffe ng'esobola okujjako gye tuli. Weebale nnyo ssebo.
Just by a quick show of hands, how many of us would identify as youth?
Ashraf, osobola okutuulako wansi, osobola okwogera ng'otudde wansi ssebo.
Great, okay. And how many of us are in a career? Most people? Some people are a bit shy. Maybe some people don't know what a career is. Does everyone understand what a career is, first of all? Yeah, okay. Just so that we're all on the same page, it's something that we do, some form of work activity for an extended period of our life where there's an opportunity to progress. Now, from my personal experience in my career, early on, we don't know where we want to go. We have some ideas, but they're a bit vague. But we just, we rely on what we see amongst us and people that have talked to us, but we don't really know exactly how to get there. So what are the tools that we can use to make progress in a career or find out about potential careers? And some of the things that we do with young people is going out to schools to teach them about engineering, which is the career which I'm in. So that's one of the things that you can do. You can go to events at your schools or in the community and find out about the range of careers. So careers events, a lot of us in our schools, we have a careers service. So you can speak to those professionals and they can help you to reach a particular career path. Other things that you can use, there's lots of online tools. One which I recommend quite regularly, anyone who's ever heard me speak. There's a psychological tool that you can use where you answer a series of questions and then it will give you some guidance in terms of potential careers that you can go into. So the website which I used is called 16 Personalities. If you go on Google and you type in 16 personalities, it will be the first link that you'll see. And then if you go on that website, you answer a series of questions, and then at the end of it, it will tell you about your personality profile and give you some advice on a potential career that you can go into based on your personality profile. So that's just some advice that I can give to address that question.
Tweyanziza nnyo ssebo, tujja kuba tukomawo eggulo. obugalo obwo butegeeza nti abantu basanyuse ku magezi ago g'otuwadde. Ndowooza mulina bavubuka bannange abali wano musobodde okumanya how engeri gye musobola atuwadde career guidance, particularly okusinga ekyonzi ekyempiikinzeemu bw'oba ng'oyagala okumanya how oyinza okulondako ku ki ky'onaakola osobola okweyambisa emitendera egyo gy'atuwadde. Amaseekati gaffe twegasseeko panelist omulala nja kusaba omuwa omuzindaala asobole okweyanjula katono mu ddakiika ng'emu then tugende mu maaso.
Mbalamusiza abasawo ne bannyabo. Bansonyiwe mbadde late lwakuba wabaddewo traffic with a football match. Amanya gange banjita Rachel Bashave Namutebi, neddira member eya Gabunga, and also okubeera part of the panelists because I run a fashion brand. Tukolera, we manufacture in Uganda and we've been able to prove it and expand it to throughout the world. So we have a franchise in America, we're going to be opening up a franchise in Dubai, and it's just really to representing a culture, using, showing that we can manufacture in Uganda, talking about our culture, and just exploring the world. And because of that, we've been able to do London Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, Kigali, and yeah, I'm just here to help improve and ask me any questions. Also on top of that, I do now advise as the official Uganda UK fashion consultant for the new British Council Arts and Culture Programme on the fashion side. So yeah, those are you have to chocolate.
Wow, thank you very much. I would like you to pass that microphone to Rachel. Rachel Basham. Oh, Rachel Basham, yeah, right. Sorry about that. Yakugenda eri Rachel goes, let me straight away go with you. What did they before you came in? We are interested into your professionalism, into your skill. How we we can tap into your skill, into your professionalism on personal on developing ourselves. Probably maybe even us we can take up that road, or we can use that kubanga naffe nsobola okutuuka on the same level of platform. So I want you to share with us on how we can tap into your professionalism or skill.
Thank you for that.
In 3 minutes.
Yes, I will. So first and foremost, obviously for the youth, I did not go to fashion school, even though I'm a fashion designer and I own a big fashion brand now. I actually went and studied business management. I grew up in Uganda, like saw in a Shimoni demonstration, then moved over here. I then qualified to be a business management consultant. Then I got headhunted into accounting before I fell sick, and then now I do fashion. So I think that shows that you don't necessarily have to have it right. Number one, it's okay to start where you are. Jogadinho about the fashion brand, how big it's grown, and us now representing with British Council Uganda. But I want to encourage you that Natanika just okutunga for therapy. Again, I didn't learn how to, but what I wanted was the vision of Jagala. When you think about East Africa, especially Uganda, Togetherness, our culture, how bigger we are, how we are business oriented as women as well. So for me, in terms of like, how do you get to where I am? Honestly, I would say you coming to this already is you making that first step. Network with people. I have a saying I say, when you get into a room, if possible, don't be with the person you came with. Because when you come into a room, make sure at least you leave with 3 contacts. Whether they are aspirational, whether it's to do with your hobbies, or someone that you really aspire to, because Tom Manya, you're going to speak to, Tom Manya, who's going to speak your name. And for the youth, I think, let's learn to also go back into understanding who we are and our cultures. So for example, I think when we first did London Fashion Week, Twakola, a designer in Kikoi, I grew up in Uganda, and Tata in Uganda, and I always say, yes, there's Ankara, but as a Uganda, Kikoi, but it's also inside the Gomez. So for me, my whole aim with my brand was, and still is, how do we modernize our culture, but still stay true to the culture? So that's an example of, for me, I've gotten to where we are because one, I'm audacious. I think a lot of people know here on this panel. And also, I'm very proudly Ugandan. Very, very proudly Ugandan. And I think we need to have that pride. Don't let that stop you, because there's an audience that wants to understand your culture. The All Designs is just all about culture. So I hope that's enough.
Thank you. Sharon.
Thank you so much, Rachel. That was really insightful. To have a businesswoman, a business lady, a fashionista, first of all, but also someone who is in the fashion industry. You said you've run in London Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, and you said there was another one. There's Dubai and Kigali as well, and New York, Milan, Kigali.
We did Kampala with British Council. So I think for me joining this panel, again, I want to apologize I was late. I want to give the reality of when you really push for what you believe in. So outside of all these accolades, Zenyina, I'm actually a very sickly person. I have fibromyalgia, I have endometriosis, and that's why I stopped being an accountant. So Okutunga was my therapy. It's still my therapy, but I constantly was always going home. And because I was going home, I was like, what about Bantabatunga downtown? Engoeze Tukola, by the way, they're made from downtown. We source at Atalanta building down in Owino. Like, we take that. And when last year BBC said we want to do a documentary on your journey, that whole 6 minutes shows the whole process. Because I've used £50 to where we are. So I want to encourage you to know that. Just have that dream, just have that goal, and then get the people. Right now in this room, there's a lot of people who are willing to work with you, willing to listen to your idea, but also don't just have an idea, better very, 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 really believe in it. Be so audacious in believing in your idea, because people really want unique things. Because of that, right now, last week I found out that same documentary that BBC did is all over Rwanda Air, Qatar Airways, and it's truly all about Uganda, my culture, who I am, my people. People want authenticity. So while you study, also pay respect to your parents, pay respect to your culture, be true to yourself. People can read it. So for me, it's not just the accolades. There's more to do.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much for your insight. I'm now going to move on to our next panelist, Ms. Nsula Lunkuse. Could you please give us an insight into how we can tap into our opportunities in the UK, and how you can galvanize skill and talent and any type of factors in your environment to optimize opportunity and create development for professional development for yourself?
Wow, that's a very big question. Just to echo what these two lovely people actually have said. You don't have to go to uni, you don't have to go to college, you literally just got to believe in yourself. We don't have the courage okubeera okumanya kitwagala. Senga tumanya kitwagala netugamba omanyi. I know my parents want me to be, a nurse, a lawyer, or what. Nature change agala. So it actually starts from there. So the career I'm in, and it's a very weird one, because I started as a nanny, as a registered Ofsted nanny. That's how I started. And then I said to myself, you know what, I don't just want to cater to one child. So then I said to myself, you know what, I actually, I said, you know what, let me drive that. Let that name drive me. And that's exactly what it did. So what I did, I said, you know what, in COVID, I said, let me work 3 jobs for me to be able to actually set up my business. And that's exactly what I did. So I was able to like kind of raise, you know, £10,000 for me to be able to turn my home into a Ofsted ready. Because there's a lot of things they do require, you know, even though they require you to have certain, you know, qualifications, but you know what, you can do it. If you put your mind to anything, I've realized you can actually do it. So that's what I did. It took me 2 years whilst I was working, and I kind of just did it. But when it comes to helping young people, I would say network. Just like Rachel said, walk into a room and don't leave, don't be with the person that you came with, even though that's your safety net. Take a risk. You know, you'll get an Omulamwa. I know when it comes to Ugandan culture, pretty very timid at times, pretty shy, at times better aggressive, and be a go-getter. Because the moment you're a go-getter, you know what, everything becomes easier. You know, ask for advice, because I think for us as youth leaders, what we want to do and create in the community is a professional substance hub for young people to be able to come to professionals who are, so young people can come to us. If there's a field they actually want, for example, Ashraf is an engineer, you know, a young person could come to him and say, Ashraf, I want to be an engineer. How can I do it? Can you be my coach? We want children, our young people, to be able to ask the difficult question, can you be my coach? Can you actually lead me to where I want to get to? You know, ask questions. Do not be shy, because we do become, when we come into a room, we go into a shell. Don't do that. I sometimes kind of become a Nigerian and become very, to change a gala. Let me go for it, because as a Nigerian parents will say, Tokomaweka, do not come home without being a lawyer. Mom, I'm a comedian. Why, you want to be a clown of the family? Please. You know, so be that. Mom, I know you wanted me to be a lawyer. I know you wanted me to be a doctor, but Mom, this is what I want. You know, we've got influencers. We've got people on Instagram making money. Making a shop. She is a fashion. She gave me goosebumps, because you know what? She said she's got all these illnesses. Net is I'm stopping. Kola chaya gala. Kubanga yetia gala. So everybody, you know what? The world is our oyster. Thank you.
Nusula nga tonawayo muzindala wenyini. Wensobola kati okubuuza, how can we do it? Kubanga abakadde baffe bayinza okuba nga balina career gye baagala gye tuba tuteekinga, gye tuba tutwala, era nga bainvestinzeemu na buli kimu amanyi gaabwe ye aloota kimu kulaba nti omwana we agenda kuba engineer oba agenda kukola ki. Naye kati nga wolabye waneno Rachel, mukadde we yamuweera paka n'akuguka okubala ebitabo. Naye kaakati wuyo aye fashionista, and you know our culture. Bakadde baffe quotes and quotes ebiseera ebisinga olumu mu kutwagaliza baagala nnyo okulaba nti batulambika engeri gye tulina okutambulamu. Butya ng'abavubuka we tuyinza okukikola nga tetufunye kukuubagana n'abakadde baffe.
Whatever you do in life, do not disrespect your parents. Kubanga abo mikisa gyo buli wamu gy'olaga, buli luggi lw'olagamu, it's your parents first. Whatever it is that they do, it's your parents. Kubanga be bakusabira essaala, wadde oli ku uni, wadde oli ku babeera ku musaala buli kiro. Bannange Mukama nyamba omwana wange akole bw'ati ne bw'oti, gwe gy'otali bo buli kiseera babeera bakusabira. In that regards, you know what, you find a hobby. And when you find a hobby, you build on that. And do not be afraid to build on that. Because at the end of the day, you please your parents, But then when you actually build your hobby and you've made it into something, otuuza mami ne taata n'obagamba naye omanyi maama, omanyi munnange, ekintu kino kye waŋŋaana okukola, munnange nkikozeemu ssente. Because you know our parents, baagala kumanya results ziriwa. Toŋŋamba bye sitalaba, mpa results. Kati awo, making sure mukola ki. Kubanga in life here, ffenna twagala okumanya nti omwana wange ekintu kyagenda okukola kigenda muwesingira budde, tekigenda nakuwesinga ki ssente. Kubanga oteekamu ekintu ssente, naye to even get that money back is so hard. Omanyi, you create something on the side while you please your parents. But whatever you do, bannange temu disrespecting our parents bammwe, whoever they are, however they are, bannange mubawenge ekitiibwa. Kubanga be babasabira ate wonna gye mulaga saala zaabwe ze zibatwalayo.
Thank you very much. Bannange tweyanzizza nnyo. Mu mbeera eyo nga bwe tulaba nti nno Hajjati Nosolo obadde ng'abavubuka oli mu kutubuulira na butya bwe tuyinza okubanga tulega ku magezi go n'engeri ebintu gy'obikozeemu okulaba nga twekulaakulanye. Naye ndowooza ne bakadde baffe nabo mu ngeri y'emu abali mu kizimbe kino nabo basobodde okubaako engeri gye basobola okumanya nti olumu oba oli awo baleme kutusindiikiriza nnyo mu ekyo kyabeera yaloota oba nga bakatuzaala nti omwana wange njagala abe kino, olumu oba oli awo tuyinza obutasobola kubanga ate okwo ffe si kwe kuyitibwa kwaffe. Kale ne bakadde baffe abali mu kizimbe nsaba nammwe mubeere nga mulegako ku kiki bannaffe bano kye batubuulira abasobodde okukimeekinga mu bulamu. Mu kaseera kano nja kuyita Jonathan tugabaneko naawe ssebo mu magezi go in your professionalism. Ssebo tusaba, tell us how we can tap into your professionalism, how we can tap into your skills, advice, so that we can really develop as fellow younger adults here in the building. Thank you.
Sure. So as I said, I started working at TFL as a contracts and finance officer. I've been working for about 6 years.
Yeah, Jonathan, you'll be having 3 minutes. Thank you.
So I started there, and then was kind of, up and down, moving up different roles, and then I took up a course for project management, and then when I took up a course in project management, I fell into something that's completely different. So my life took a 360 turn, and then I was in a relationship, and I was trying to have a child with my partner at the time, and I was not able to have a child. And then it came into me talking about fertility for male. Now, in the UK and in Africa, around the world, men, we refuse to talk about our health. And number one is men's health in terms of fertility. So I was not afraid to kind of talk about my journey and how I became from where I am into my career in TFL to now moving out of that and now running workshops and going for, I'm doing like speeches across the UK. I'm doing a speech in Birmingham to the andrologist team in the UK, talking about my journey as a lived experience as a young black man, actually a young Ugandan man with fertility problems. Now I went back to Uganda this year to discuss fertility. I saw a number of clinics. I spoke to a number of people. I spoke to the chairman of the chairman of the Ugandan Fertility Society. And the idea I had was to kind of discuss fertility amongst men, young men. Fertility doesn't just affect women, it affects men as well. And it's, there's a high decline around the world in rates in fertility, especially young men. So I wanted to create an organization that works in conjunction with the Ugandan Fertility Society to empower, to educate, and to spread awareness around fertility for men. Now within that, I decided how can I, as an individual, help myself to help others? So I've taken up a course as a holistic therapist for fertility, specializing in male fertility, and that will help me to galvanize other young men, not just in Uganda, but I wanted to be in Uganda, but across the world, to kind of talk about fertility, do workshops, and inspire men to be the best version of themselves and to talk about their health as much as women may talk about their health. Now, coming from obviously a Ugandan household, fertility is a subject that's very taboo in Uganda. But having been there myself and having spoken to a number of people, clinics, even patients, they were in awe of the fact that I'm coming to Uganda and wanted to talk about this subject, to bring it to light, and yeah, to promote awareness around fertility and to be the best men to be the best of themselves. In order for me the opportunities that I want to create in Uganda is to bring back clinicians, physicians, doctors from the UK that we have here who have studied to go back to Uganda and work in Uganda. Create a fertility hospital that specializes in helping men with fertility, you know, and also just, you know, like I said, yeah, bringing opportunities back. So me training as a therapist, I can then help a young man or woman to become a therapist, but obviously I'm specialized in fertility. But even just that, you know, like I said, having been in Uganda and seeing head on the issues that we have in Uganda and stuff like this not being spoken about has inspired me to be a voice. I may be one person right now, but I'm sure there'll be 10 of me in maybe 5 years' time who are talking about fertility and inspiring men.
Jonathan, if I may come just here, thank you for the presentation. How have you worked it out to get men to actually embrace your program? Because as you know, men, at times, there are things they feel like they cannot talk about it because they might think maybe kigenda kumulabisanga omusajja atawera bulungi, you know, and so many, yes, I understand, babonabonera eyo mu kusirika naye ate nga balina ebizibu nga bino byogezaako okwadressinga. Kati there is embeera eyo simanyi oba kiri mu culture yaffe oba oliawo oyisibwa Katikkiro natulungamya naye osobola okutubulya abasajja naddala nga young youth, young men, obaleetedde otya okulaba nti no basobola okuvaayo mu kasonda ako ke bali okulaba nga they can freely embrace your program? In 1 minute.
Yes, it's just creating forums, so creating online forums, you know, things like this, organizing like workshops for men to come and discuss their health, their mental health, having discussions online, podcasts, doing video links on YouTube, and yeah, those are the sort of things that kind of will help men to kind of talk more about their health and talk about especially fertility health.
Thank you very much. Basebo ne banyabo, our dear guests here, abali wano, bw'obanga waliwo ekibuuzo kyonna oba any topic which has caught your attention, you can note it down. Tujja kubawaayo ka session k'ebibuuzo to ask questions, and I will give them just a 1 minute or 2 minutes okulaba nga responding to that. So please, ekyo nakyo tujja kufuna tukibawa. Over to you, Sharon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So last but not least, Miss LW'ABAVUBUKA, you mentioned you're in the law industry. You come from the law background. Can you give us an insight into your journey and the skills you've had to develop, the soft skills, hard skills you've had to develop professionally to attain your achievements? Sorry for those who can't hear me. Yeah, so can you give us an insight into how you've attained the soft skills, hard skills, any educational journey you had to take to acquire the professional space that you'll now encompass? Thank you.
Sure. For most people, I think when you go into law, you think you have to do a law degree, which means before then you have to do English and history and essay-based subjects at sixth form. I went against that, and my parents advised me that, you know, you're really making a mistake here. But I think, kind of pointing to what you said earlier, if you do things that you enjoy, you're more likely to excel in them. And so I chose economics, I chose geography, and I chose IT. all subjects that were not anything to do with law at all. But because I enjoyed them, I did well, and I went to uni to do a straight law degree. So I went to University of Leicester. I didn't go to a Russell Group university, but I came out with a 2-1, and it was the middle of the pandemic, so nothing was happening outside. We were all in lockdown. But I said, okay, let me find myself a pub job to keep my car on the road. And in the meantime, I applied for jobs where I could. Now, obviously, the job market at that time was not the best, and I didn't know what I was applying for, so I applied for everything. That's just what you have to do when you graduate from uni. You apply for everything and you hope for the best. So I did that, and I eventually stumbled across my company called TradeWeb. I had cousins who were all in finance, and luckily they were helpful and they gave me advice on what to look for within the financial industry. And so also to second, the network that you have around you is not necessarily people that are in the workplace. They could be people that are in your family. And so I would really ask for people to speak to you, speak to your cousins, speak to your sisters, your brothers, speak to your uncles. They are always going to know someone that could help you, so you never know. So I started at my company, and I work as a paralegal. So what I do is I essentially draft contracts for clients, so hedge funds, pension funds, and banks that all come to our platform to trade financial instruments. And I learned everything on the job. They didn't expect me to know anything. I just needed to have a vague idea of what a contract should look like. But other than that, I learned everything on the job. And to do that, in answer to your question, I needed to be curious. I always say to people that ask me, we have interns every year, I say be curious and stay curious, because that curiosity and the ability to ask the questions and just find out more is what's going to get you to another level. And so my curiosity has helped me get promoted, get into bigger rooms, and now I think I foster and I lean on my soft skills now, which are just being friendly. I think Ugandan people are very friendly. We're a very community-based and enriched country. And so I would say that lean on the soft skills like being friendly, being approachable, have a good smile on your face when you're going into a room. That does a lot. But also to be aware of your surroundings. There are not a lot of people who look like me at my company. And if I was to allow that to hinder me, I wouldn't be where I am now. And so I have taken up space. I have been in rooms where I'm the only woman, let alone black woman, and I haven't let that dissuade me from speaking up when I feel like I've got a good thing to say. Or when I want to ask a question, it's not that I should tell myself, you sound silly for asking this question. No, those people in that room are going to say, oh, actually, she wanted to know more, and that's quite impressive. It takes a lot of courage to speak up in those kinds of rooms. So that's what I would say.
Leah, thank you for that presentation. But I would want, I'm inquisitive to know, how have you been able to do what you do in a predominantly dominated male area, so that maybe one of the some of the young female adults say they can borrow relief from you? How have you been able to do that without being intimidated, without having low self-esteem because of being female and what? Because I understand it is mainly dominated by men.
Absolutely, yeah. I would be lying if I said that I haven't felt intimidated in those areas. I definitely have, and I've been outnumbered on most occasions. But I would say that there is a reason. My mum at the back there will laugh when I say this. I always remind myself that when you've been invited to the table, it means that you deserve to be at the table.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Leah. So my fellow youth, I think you have borrowed a leaf from that. When you are invited in the table, you deserve to be there. Okay? Nja kusaba kati owekitiibwa Israel Kaziwe waali nja kusaba naawe era ku mulamwa guno gwe gumu ssebo osobola okubaako engeri gy'oyinza okubaganya ebirowoozo ku mulamwa guno ne tugabanako naawe. So
thank you very much. I'm Israel Kaziwe Chitoke, Minister for Information, Mobilization and Kingdom spokesperson. Greetings from Buganda and the youth at large. Omulamwa kubadde a little bit diverse wano ne wano. Nenze what I will say is fenga abavubuka abakula tulina okulwana ennyo okulaba ntufuna opportunities zetulaba eziri mu community zaffe okuzikozesa okulaba nga tugenda maaso. I'll give an example of me from school, right from university. I looked around, I said, what am I going to do? My father, or my guardian, he was a very courageous man. He was a man who was very enterprising. Yali akola eddagala lye bayitanga kyapambalasi. She knows my sister. So when we were growing up, yavangayo nangamba, you guy, to get school fees, you have to work on a daily basis in the factory. So I would register my working there on a daily basis. And if you sign in, then you could say ofunye 15. So to get school fees, to go to Kako and study my secondary, zazino kwere mitwala 25. So if it doesn't equate to that, then you don't go to school. So from my childhood, I learned to work hard. Then secondly, my parent was like, you have to greet every person you find. When you're into sales business, you greet every person you find on the street, someone who is just like that, you just have to greet them. So I grew up with that thing of being humble, being down. So it helped me a lot. So after leaving university, I decided to start a school business. And I looked around, nendabanga, this is a slum area. So ulanchokola wano nenfunawo sente. Nentandika akasomero nga kaina abaana nga 15 to 20. So I looked at that opportunity, 15 to 20. Now I looked at few things, adding value to this school. That was number one. How could I add value to this school? So I got some good teachers from some YMCA institution. I told them, change Luzungu. I don't want the boy is doing this. No, I want the boy is doing this. So within no time, then I changed the uniform here and there from this old uniform to a very nice checked uniform. I would be by 6 very early in the morning at the gate, welcoming these students. To cut the long story short, mubanga tono nali mpeza abaana ndoza nga 13 wenjogerera kati mpeza abaana nga 5, and this school esobodde okunfunira another school nga sinoonyeza mulimu walala okuwamu ku figures entono ennyo abaana 200 mu ssomero bayamba a school to run expenses and all that. Kati abaana 200, it's my profit ezigendayo. The 100 abo tebajja kunsasula. There are always people like that in the community. So bane 200 times abaana ba busente butono kubanga bali mu slum area emitwalo 20, emitwalo 15. So abaana 200 ku mitwalo 20 ze sente meka bukadde ana nange tanso okukola muko wenjagala. So kyengezako kubategeeza, we always have to look at opportunities as the youth. Some people who've made this world change, who are great people, they have seen opportunities, problems in our societies, nebabifunira solutions. Zinalaba problem y'abantu ababeera mu kasubi kawaala abanaku abatasobola kusasula sente mitwalo 5 nembagamba ku mitwalo 20 omwana wajja kukola ki ajja kusoma. It's not all about education. Newe n'okutuna ebintu ebirala. There's a certain group of young men balabanga kasasiro mungi mu Nansana. Kasasiro everywhere there's garbage and garbage. Nafuna truck ng'agipangisa. It's not his truck nti agisasulira sente. And ye yagigula n'agenda n'agipangisa ng'ajja n'agamba 15 subscribe okufuna kasasiro okuva mu kikomera kyo. Right now they have a very big company. So elonda kasasiro bagaga. Other young men balaba security problem, a very nice toilet, natekam pads for the ladies, buli kimu aguze amapoloti okugamalawo. So some things bye tulabanga ebitono ffe ba youth ate bisobola okuvaamu ekinene. Katikkiro waffe yazze atubuulira ebintu bingi nnyo. Ye yatandikira mu law naye mabegako eno munzikirize nzibe ebyama. Twali tutuddeko mu cabinet lumu n'aŋŋamba they were like 5 guys ne bagula plot. Time neyitawo tebapapa. Plot ye baagigulwa miliyoni nga 6 oba mmeka ajja banyonnyola 7. Mwagitunze obuwumbi bumeka ssebo olw'okusa. Abantu bagenda bagamba ebizimbe byonna bibine yatuula n'abala n'agamba plot eno tugiguze wantu walungi naye after some years tujja gitunda. Era bwe bagitunze bafunye ssente mpitirivu. So nnyo Mukama wange okubba ebigezo. So what I'm telling you, we have to look ahead. We have to plan. Let us stop keeping up appearance to think that we have when we don't have. Ekirala ne abaana baffe engeri gye tubakuzaamu. Let us put them in a situation etalaga nti buli kimu kufuna. Tusanze abaana the types of the corporates that we have. Abali emuyenga, abaliwa. Omwana oluvaayo ayagala agende mu supermarket alye buli kimu kyayagala. You end up having kids binene nnyo atula mu motoka negwako side eno ne bafuna health problems. Neko omwana ali ekyalina okulya mugambe nti leero tetulina katulye ku bijanjalo katulye ku nyama katulye ku ki. Thanks a lot.
Waawo tweyanziza ow'ekitiibwa okugabanako naawe amagezi ago g'otuwadde ssebo. Ndowooza nange kati katandika okuwoomingira essomero ewaffe. Ate nga kasumi g'oyogerako nze nange siva wala kubanga wano najjawo buzzi nange nazaalibwawo ku Lubya. Ku Lubya awo kulina n'amasiro g'e Kasubi awo Kasozi. Ndowooza nange awo nja kuyiiya ndabe engeri we nnaatandikawo oba olyawo. Tweyanziza nja kubasaba bwe wabaawo nga tunagenda mu bibuuzo wayinza okubaawo omulamwa nga gwakutta omubabiru nga waliwo k'oyagala ogabanako naffe mu bantu mmwe abali eno tusobola okusembeza omuzayo gye muli ne mugabanako naffe kubanga amagezi muliro ate we gaguggwako ng'ogakima ewa munno. Kale we wabaawo yenna alina kyayagala okutugattako nga tunagenda mu bibuuzo tusobola okusaba owanika omukono tukuleetera akazindaalo. Nja kusaba zino kagende.
Bannange mbalamusiza mwenna. Amannya gange nze Nemberoni Nedira Mamba. Katikkiro tusanyusa okulaba abakungu mwenna tusanyusa okubalaba ab'ekitiibwa mwenna all protocol observed. Nze natandikawo ekitongole ekyange through my passion as a Pan-African bakiyita Foreign Daddy. Ebiseera ebisinga nga njogera Foreign Daddy abantu beebuuza what is that all about. Naye nsaba nnyo mu concentrating ku daddy. Mwenna ye mulowooza taata ali ki gye muli. So that is what Foreign Daddy is all about. Kati the foreign bit is taata avudde ebweru oba azze ebweru. Ffenna twajja kuno oba abamu ffenna tuzaaliddwa kuno naye kyekyakuleeta kuno twajja kufunawo ki ekigasa wa gye tuva. So nabadde n'ekibuuzo kubanga I believe that we should all have a purpose in life. Tuli ku mulamwa ki? I believe all the panelists that we have to do, I believe our particular, I believe all the honorables that we have here today. Waliwo ekiba driving okukola byonna bye bakola ekibawa campus ne direction. So if I'm to advise anybody here today, what is your purpose in life? When you find that purpose, and I believe a purpose is bigger than yourself, it's bigger than your self-gratification. Kisinga gwe ng'omuntu olina okunoonya ekintu ekikudriving ekisinga ku gwe, something big, something bigger than you can ever imagine.
tweyanziza mukiwulidde bavubuka bannange nti you always have to drive for something big in your life. Sebo tweyanziza okugabanako naawe. Nsaba tulina omukyala waliwo omukono abaddewo mukungu muyimba waliwo omukyala ono tutandike naye then tudde wa mukungu muyimba n'oli omulala bwe tujja okusemba n'oli omukyala basatu tukozese eddakiika emu emu tusobole okwanguwa. Neyanziza nnyo.
Neyanziza nnyo bassebo ne bannyabo all of protocol preserved.
Nja kusaba maama osituke tusobole okulaba ekibuuzo tuliwulira naye tubadde tetwala weefubutuka weewaawo maama twogerako nani.
Nze mpitibwa Florence Muyimba, mukungu Muyimba ye mwami wange, naye mbadde nsaba kuwabulamu kati ku nsi kuno ku England kwe tuli batuuze, naye mbadde nsaba ffe ng'abazadde nakubadde abaana bakulidde kuno balina engeri culture gye bakuliramu ya England. Gye twalisobodde ffe ng'abazadde bannayuganda kuteerezaamu abaana baffe. Abantu bonna bali mwana ba migrant bagezeza nnyo okufuna opportunities abaana baabwe okufuna emirimu ekisobola okubayamba bwe baddayo eri eka ne basobola okuba nga balina kye basobola okukolera ensi yaabwe. Example nyinza okuwa aba Asians. Tuli mu medical field, abantu ba Asians yonna medical field bagitutte. Ne abaana baffe abamu balina talent says bwe tuba tulaba reports zaabwe sometimes tulaba nga reports marks zibafuna zirina subjects ennungi oluusi eyinza omutwala mu medical eyinza omutwala mu law ne tubawa guidance ne tutagenda ku ekyo nti I want to be like this. Abaana abo ne tubaguidinga kubanga bwe twali tukula nga tuli Uganda bazadde baffe batuguidinga ne tubeera kikye tuli. Abaana bano bwe banaafuna emirimu gino gijja kusobola okuyamba Buganda nga tuzzeeyo. Ffe we tutali ku nsi Uganda we tuli twetaaga amasomero, twetaaga amalwaliro. Abaana bano abato be bagenda otuyamba nga bazzeeyo bazimba amalwaliro, bazimba amasomero, naye tweyambisa opportunity eyo kubanga England tulina obusobozi ne gavumenti erina obusobozi omwana okusomera obwereere, omwana okufuna looni kyatasobola kufuna Uganda. Ate natwala that nakitwali waffe Buganda to develop the Uganda.
Tweyanziza maama, tweyanziza amagezi ago. Nja kusaba tugende butereevu ew'omukyalo oli then tudde wa mukungu Muyimba n'omwami we then tusembireko oli omukyala mu ddakiika emu nyabo.
So So off the back of what Auntie said, I've decided to change what I want to say because what you said is important. I am of the belief that sometimes, I think Oprah Winfrey, who is the second richest black woman in the world, the first is actually a Nigerian lady called Florencio Alikija. And I looked it up when I was at university because I wanted to know who dominated that space, because that's one that I want to dominate. And not for the sake of saying I have money, but for the sake of giving back, because I believe my purpose is to help people. And unfortunately, as much as we'd like to, helping people requires funds. It's not just, doing things. I teach, and not as a profession, but I teach anything I learn. But let me just get back to what Auntie said, because I've specifically changed my message because of her. I am of the belief that sometimes in life you have to sacrifice and do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do, okay? Now, we will have the opportunity to pursue our passions and our hobbies, but sometimes, as Auntie said, our country needs things. And not just our country, but the world needs things. Africa needs things. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need, ethical people, we need politicians, we need economists, we need really great teachers, we need people who are going to change the world. And of course, as I'm so happy Rachel's here, and I texted her, I said, "And they've called your name, where are you?" I sent her a message, and Rachel said exactly what was important. She did a degree, she did business management. She did it, and it's only because of her health that she pivoted. Understand, she did what she had to do, and now she's doing what she wants to do. So that's a very important message. I read law at university, and following law, I was within the legal field for 3-4 years. I now still work in the legal field, but I've pivoted to reputation management and corporate comms. I led on the biggest merger in the world right now, which is A&O Sherman. I was the youngest person on the team, the small team, the integration team, the only African or black woman, and I did it because, you know, my former firm, legacy firm, they needed someone to do the role. They were hiring for the role, but my line manager said, I know Lucy can do this. I've seen her work. So I want to empower you guys. Do what you have to do, and you will then do what you want to do. I look for where there is a need. And growing up, I loved fashion, I loved art, I loved writing. But for me, it's not just about me. My life, I'm a Christian and I'm here to serve. And being a Christian means you're serving God. And my pastor at uni said, joy means Jesus, others, and then yourself. J for Jesus, O for others, Y for yourself. That's how I look at life. My life is not my own. I'm here for people. So I think do things which allow you to create an impact and ripple effects. Don't just think about yourself, think beyond yourself. Our parents have invested so much in us. Do something that will allow you to change lives of many and not just your own. Create jobs, create, add to the economy, add to not just the country, the continent, the world. You're a small part of it. Do something of value. And literally, Rachel and I, again, I'm going to say Rachel, because guys, she's not joking. She posts when she's not feeling well. She posts when she's not feeling well, but she still hustles. She goes and she creates, and her designs are worn everywhere. So please, 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 don't just do what you want to do. Sometimes start and sacrifice with what you have to do, and then those other things can also be achieved.
Yeah, there you go, with sacrifice. Thank you very much. Njakusaba abateesa bannaffe abaddako nga mujja ku muzindaalo, njakusaba bakadde baffe, tukimanyi nti tusobola kubeerawo bwe mutali, naye ng'olwokuba nti olunaku lwaffe olwaleero lw'abavubuka, twagala nnyo okuliira ku experience y'abavubuka bano, okulaba nti obaoliawo waliwo bye mubadde mu miisinga nga temumanyi bye bayinza okuba nga bibasoomooza. Kati nja kusaba bakadde bange abajja ku muzindaalo okuteesa obeere as brief as possible. Obudde obusinga nja kuba mbuwa nnyo abavubuka. Neyanzize.
Thank you very much. Nze mukungu Muyimba Lawrence, ate nga nze mukubiriza w'abataka wano mu UK. I think I'm going to be speaking in English to make sure that our younger people can understand what I'm going to be saying. This is more to do with what we call interview techniques. Many of us qualify, start looking for jobs, but unfortunately, we end up with our applications being turned down, and we don't know why. Now, one of the things I want to mention, because I've been in NHS as a senior manager for more than 20 years, I've interviewed more than people. So, people, especially those who are looking for jobs maybe for the first time, they prefer even the basic instructions. They can't follow the instructions. You were told, fill the application using a black pen. You use a blue one. You've been asked, use capital letters. You use small ones. Trust me, if I put a job out and I get about, sometimes we get up to 100 applications, the first thing I do is to check whether somebody followed the instructions. Anybody who didn't follow instructions, I just put those applications in the bin. I've got to be open to you because I've got one job and there are 100 applications. So I use the elimination method without even looking at what you wrote in the paper. Secondly, we also look at...
Yes, as you wind up,
yes, please. Yeah, but I feel like this is very important for the other people. We look at your qualifications and how you relate them to the job specification and how you relate that the experience, and the objectives of the company you want to work for. What do you bring on the table? If you can't articulate that this is who I am, I know what you want, and this is what I'm coming to bring to you, sorry, you are not for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you very much. Njakusaba addako strictly yinapo eddakiika emu kubanga obudde butuli bubi. Njakusaba ayogere awo mu bwangu tusobola okuba nga tumaliriza.